On June 7, 2021, the Minister of Education and Training signed and issued Official Dispatch No. 2345 providing guidance on developing educational plans for primary schools. Lesson plans should comply with Appendix 3 of Official Dispatch No. 2345. The first section of the teaching plan is the Achievement Requirements. Official Dispatch No. 2345 does not specify how the Achievement Requirements section should be divided into subsections, but each locality may have its own regulations. In general, achievement requirements should be encoded and written according to the SMART principle, demonstrating students' competencies through the behaviors and activities of primary school students for teachers to observe and measure. For instance, know how to read numbers within the range of 100 can be rewritten as, can read numbers within the range of 100. Know how to draw a line segment with a given length should be amended to, can draw a line segment with a given length. Know how to mentally add and subtract within the range of 20 can be revised to, can perform mental addition and subtraction within the range of 20. Achievement requirements typically begin with an action verb, followed by the level of attainment suitable for primary school students, and then the relevant content and scope, in each primary school lesson, which typically lasts about 35 minutes. Teachers may only need to identify approximately 2 to 5 achievement requirements for a single lesson. It's advisable not to present too many achievement requirements associated with a lesson. From these achievement requirements tied to the lesson, teachers can discern the components of mathematical competence, relevant qualities, and core capabilities. The second section of the teaching plan is teaching aids and materials. The third section of the teaching plan is the main teaching and learning activities. Official Dispatch No. 2345 does not specify the number of columns to be divided. However, many localities are accustomed to dividing columns, including one column for teacher activities and another column predicting the expected activities of students. Each teaching session usually begins with an introductory activity to energize and connect knowledge. Teachers can organize activities such as physical exercises, singing, participation in games, or testing new lesson-related content. It is recommended to change the habit and allocate a few minutes at the beginning of the lesson to connect relevant knowledge, instead of reviewing the previous lesson, even if it is unrelated to the new lesson. For example, at the beginning of a lesson on the characteristics of rectangles in the 3rd grade, teachers can encourage students to compare the lengths of two line segments and identify right angles using a set square. These skills are essential for understanding the characteristics of rectangles rather than calculating the value of expressions learned in the previous lesson. Activities for forming new knowledge may not necessarily appear in exercise or review sessions. For lessons involving the formation of new knowledge, teachers should organize hands-on experiences, exploration, analysis, and practical activities for students to build new understanding. For example, a 3rd grade teacher could have students use a ruler to check the equality of long and short sides of rectangles and use set square to identify right angles. This approach, emphasizing hands-on activities and exploration, is likely to benefit students in the long run compared to a direct presentation of rectangle characteristics followed by examples and application exercises. Practice and hands-on activities often correspond to various tasks and exercises. Teachers can break down this section into smaller activities, for example, Activity 3.1 corresponding to Task 1, and Activity 3.2 corresponding to Exercise 2. Some inexperienced educators tend to provide a superficial presentation, making all tasks and exercises appear similar. A piece of advice for novice teachers is to be careful in clearly presenting exercise requirements, procedures, and answers to avoid unnecessary errors. After each exercise, teachers can create opportunities for students to reinforce newly acquired knowledge by explaining the solution methods and applying the newly learned concepts to solve problems. For instance, by asking third-grade students to explain why a certain shape is a rectangle, students would have to relate it to the characteristics of rectangles. This process reinforces and consolidates their understanding of rectangle properties. Application and experiential activities typically involve students applying recently learned knowledge to solve practical problems. However, according to Official Dispatch number 2345, not every lesson is required to include these practical application and experiential activities. The final section of the lesson plan is post-lesson adjustment. Main teaching activities should be organized into 4 steps. First, the teacher transfers tasks to the students. Students receive the tasks and proceed with implementation. The teacher monitors and provides support when needed. Students report and present their results. Teachers should organize self-assessment and peer evaluation among students before the teacher provides feedback. Each achievement requirement identified in the initial part of the lesson plan should be implemented through the main teaching activities, ensuring that students engage in and successfully complete the activities. If a student does not perform an activity corresponding to a specific achievement requirement, the lesson planner should consider supplementing or removing that particular achievement requirement. Conversely, each main teaching activity and its objectives must contribute to the achievement requirements identified in the initial part of the lesson plan. If a particular activity does not align with any of the existing achievement requirements, the lesson planner should consider supplementing the achievement requirements or removing that activity. For the convenience of reviewing the lesson plan, we can use the split screen feature and color-coded effects. To split the screen in the Microsoft Word application, navigate to the View menu and select the split icon. Splitting the screen makes it easy to compare achievement requirements with specific activities. To change the color, select the text and go to the Home menu or right-click, then choose a color in Text Highlight Color or Font Color. It is recommended to highlight student activities and corresponding activity objectives with the same color as the associated achievement requirement for easy identification. Different achievement requirements can be highlighted with different colors. Using color effects makes it easy to detect achievement requirements and activities that may be considered for modification or removal.